Hello everybody, this is Make It Better, and today we're doing What If Deku Has Nightmares Part 28, I believe. Now, since it's getting colder and, well, it's getting closer to Christmas and New Year's, it's gonna be a lot different now until it gets warmer in the weather. And where I live, it'll get warmer real quick, about 2 more months. After that, it'll be back to normal. But I'm freezing cold in the morning, and when I leave to work, I don't really warm up my vehicle as much. So that's basically why. And I'll be shaking and basically basically having my teeth moving up and down quickly while I'm driving. And it's no fun, and I won't be focused. Also, the roads will be somewhat icy. And I believe that'll be everything. So it'll be later in the day, and probably basically how I used to be, about one video for every 2 days, or maybe, I really don't know. With all that said, I am thinking about them. This extra time is helping me actually find smaller details to fix as the day goes on. And yeah, so thank you for the 372 subscribers. I'm very grateful for all of you. Even the ones that are not subscribed, I'm just grateful. With all of that said, let's get this video started, shall we? Last time we left off, Zuko told Aizawa that he's gonna show him, as he basically hold on to Uraka. Sorry, I was watching a video. Uraka into his arms, and just hugging her tightly, giving her comfort that he is still there. So she's just crying in her sleep throughout the whole time. They went to another room where it's more vacant and nobody has moved into yet. Aizawa was told just to hold out his hand. Zuko tells him he's gonna do 1 year of his life. And this one will hurt, as he just touched with his pointer finger on his corner of his eye, and the tear was developed but not coming out. So he had to touch his own eye, the corner of it, and just a droplet of a tear barely formed. 1 year. He tapped it on Aizawa's hand. It seeps through, and Aizawa is seeing his mother. He's in the point of view of a baby crying in the crib. And then it shifts. His face is looking over to a woman, smiling, laughing, and have a teapot. And it's steaming, whistling, and it's starting to boil over the very top. The woman grabbed onto it, left it over. Aizawa is thinking to himself, what is she gonna do with that? And he sees the horrifying scene play out of the woman pouring up the whole pint or quart of tea, boiling tea, onto Zuko's body. And Aizawa is just feeling the burn of it all throughout the whole body, and still feeling the burn afterwards. After it healed and she stopped, she just threw it and just let the baby just lay there, screaming, agony, crying, with the burn marks on his skin. And later down in that very months, in those 1 year, it just showed that the wounds were never healed. And more things happen, as well as things have said. After Aizawa come out of that, Aizawa just he grabs his, shirt, and just breathes heavily after coming out of that. As he looks straight, he actually pulls his shirt, looks down, and sees the markings that he saw in that vision, or, a life. and it's all gone. Izuku looks over to Aizawa and and Uraka actually saw worse of that. Aizawa really thinks about this. Problem child. How many did she go through? Zuko thinks to himself, she gone through 9 years of torture. And over in the triplets digits of accidents have gone through my life. Aizawa said, and you remember every single one of those? Right now, he's concerned about Zuko. And Zuko said, yeah, that's the only way for my quirk to work. And now Aizawa realized about his training, that he was going through that pain over and over again. Something that no one was allowed to do with trauma. But for Zuko, he had to go through it every time just to use his quirk. And he just realized how bad this kid's quirk really is in the back if he ever turned evil, or even worse, and never use it. And Zara said, okay. As he's still shaken up by that one vision, he tells Zuko and, well, Uraka too, whenever she's awake, that they have the rest of the training camp off. I can see. He thinks about any way to help out them all, but Zuko just said no. I'll just be here with Uraka. But it'll be okay. Can you bring us the food whenever it's lunch, dinner, or breakfast time? And Aizawa said, yeah, I can do that. He stands up, leaves the room, and tells the teachers what really happened. And they show concern, somewhat tears up, and, well, one of them don't believe it. And this will be the tiger, the one that's very flexible. Pixie Bob? No. Crap, then look up their name. But anyway, they don't believe it. So they were about to barge in and ask for Zuko to do it, but God damn it, fuck it. He was stopped by Aizawa's handkerchief or scarf, and Aizawa gave them a glance that they're terrified of. He turned on his quirk and told them no one's allowed to be in there until they're ready to leave. Do I make myself clear? As he tightened up the scarf around their neck until they say yes, he lets go and walks away. Also, he mentions that they need to bring them food every time, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, either ones. And, well, not to piss off Aizawa and either Zuko, they want to have Koda, since Koda has the freest time, and, well, he won't do anything bad, right? But anyway, Uraka has waken up a few times, basically in shock, looking right, left, and then notice that she's getting squeezed, and Zuko's just laying there, leaning back on the wall, and Uraka just on him. And she's just grabbing onto him and still crying. And she said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please. as she goes back to sleep. The morning passes, and well, the morning finally comes. Zuko noticed there's some food outside of the door. He tried to leave, but right when he tried to leave and let go of Raka instinctively in that moment just grabbed on tighter to Zuko and just whispered in her sleep, "Don't go. Please, don't go." And Zuko had to just stay there. Starving, but stay there. He thinks to himself, I've been gone. I've been through worse. I can do that. But the waffles smell so good. 4 hours pass and it's coming up to lunch. And the next kid came up. He was about to lay the food on the floor until he noticed that the breakfast food wasn't took a bite or even moved. It was exactly where he left it. So he knocks the door. Zuko tells them to come in, as Koda comes in with 2 plates of food wrapped up in plastic or foil. And Koda was about to lay on the table in the middle of the room, thinking that they're all spoiled or they just don't want to move. They'll move for lunch. And Zuko said, Koda, can you please take and bring it over here? As Koda just looks at Zuko, and he just looks to his eyes. Zuko, with those dead, pleading eyes, is just telling Koda just to bring it. Koda never seen that in a person before. Not a potential hero trying to be the best of their best. Show great fear in their eyes. Koda reluctantly does this and put it right next to Zuko. As Zuko thanks Koda for all of this. And I'm assuming you brought the breakfast too. I'm so grateful you brought the food. As Koda said, yeah. So what happened? And Zuko said, hold on. As he takes an apple, slice it up in, pieces, and just feed the food slowly to Araka. She is being baby fed by Zuko, and she's eating the food. As after a few times and, not eating anything else, Zuko leave it at that and just wait for her to go back to sleep. After she did, Zuko explained my quirk. My quirk is very unique. Let's put it at that. Koda doesn't understand this at all, and he really doesn't care, but he's so curious about this since he's so young. But he chose to leave as he finally walks away. But when he was about to walk away, Zuko asked him, "So you don't want to be a hero?" As Zuko still stroking Uraka's hair, patting her head. And Koda hears the speech again, thinking that this guy is gonna change his mind, but he won't budge. He refused. And he said, "Yeah, what of it?" Zuko said, "Well, I don't blame you. On how your parents gone through, sacrificing their lives for you to live. I can see that you just want to make sure that you are living for them. It's actually noble." Koda didn't realize that what he was doing was actually what he wanted to do. He was forced. He didn't want to be a hero. And he didn't want to be like his parents, even though they left him. He held on to his chest as it hurts his heart hearing it from someone else other than to himself. And Zook said, I do wonder what a family would feel like. Koda is on the edge because his family is being talked about, and it's a very touchy subject. But when he heard that, he got curious and looks back at Zuko. And he just asked, "What?" Zuko said, "Well, because in the morning and last night, he became more He let down his gaze just a bit more for Kota's sakes. And he talks about, my original mother and father, still hurts him to say it, they did not treat me as good as they could have." But he retorts and saying, "But they're still alive. You can still see them. You can't compare your life to me just because you have a small difficulty with your family. You can still talk to them. You can still..." Zuko said, "If only it was that easy. Tell me, kid, were you ever..." "No, I can't say that to you. I can't." "Never mind, you can go." Koda is now furious that this guy thinks he's going through way worse than he is. "You don't know," as he screamed at the top of his lungs, "that you don't know how it feels to have nothing, nobody, no one there to support, help, or do anything for your life. I had nothing, and you think you have it worse?" Zuko looks at him, smiles in the most scariest way possible, and said, "Kid, if you saw what I gone through, you wish you were dead too." As Koda kind of steps back, said, "What? No, you're lying. There's no way. No." And Zuko said, "Kid, have you gone through a life where you wish you were dead, but wasn't allowed to die?" I wanted to die. I just wanted to be gone, have it all over with. You're somehow stronger than me, and I just can't see another person wasting their life just for something small as their parents dying. Koda's getting very furious, and he's about to turn on his quirk and just blow it at Zuko as hard as he can. He's getting furious, as mad as possible at this guy for thinking he is going through much worse. And now Zuko's just laughing. "Tell me, Kota. I'll tell you one thing that has happened to me. Have you ever been stranded on a lake and not be able to eat anything?" only the things that you can catch, and drink the water that's in and surrounded around you. Tell me, can you survive in 8 months? Kota, so furious, throws a bunch of water at Zuko and he makes sure that Uraka's not getting soaked by this. As Kola is running out, thinking he's crazy, and well, finally runs and leaves. It's just too much pressure in that room. Zuko swiped the rest of the water off of his face. Said, damn it all. I did it again. I should apologize, but Uraka first her. As he just sits there and holding her. But he's thinking of a way to activate his quirk in another motion. Another way of making it better. So he does. He just holds there in his left hand, somewhat holding a ball, but not holding a ball. So his hand is shaped like that. And he's just trying to do the same thing like his nightmare, but in another way, and it's not working. Every time he does and somehow get close to it, it just comes out in the black liquid, and it's not just the same thing, and he's getting frustrated at this whole time, just yelling and screaming in his mind on how the hell am I supposed to make it work? For once, can you please just work? As he yells in his head to himself over and over again for that day. When dinner was time, Koda was reluctant to go, but he was told by everybody else that he was the only one that has free time right now, and they'll do it next time. Now moving on to Koda's mind. After everything was done and said, he remembers the conversation they had in between with Zuko and him. And he thinks that it was all a lie, just to trick him. But how can he lie about something how can he lie on the face? How can he not show emotion? How is he able to say all of that and not? So he been with his auntie and his parents, and well, they always are smiling, and when they lie, you can kind of tell. He's a very smart kid. He can tell when someone's lying. That's why he hates most of the heroes, because, well, he can see that they're lying straight through their teeth, telling him that he can be a great hero too, just like his parents. And that was the worst thing to say to him. But for Zuko, he did not lie a single thing. He told the absolutely truth. And Koda doesn't want to believe it. But he's standing right in front of the wall, right in front of the door. He opens it up, and Zuko is just sitting there, eating the last bit of the food, and just feeding Uraka the colder leftovers. Sorry. As he yawns because he was so tired. And then the last moment, he looks up and sees Koda still there, just with the food, not walking in. Zuko just asked him with a smile, said, "It's okay. I'm sorry for what I said. I should have never told you any of that. Can you please bring me the food?" Koda did as quietly as possible, and placed the food right next to Zuko, takes the other one, and left. 10 minutes pass, Koda's come back, knocks on the door, and he heard Koda if he could come in. Zuko, and at this point, Oraka is awake, but still sniffling. And Zuko said, yeah. As he kind of pops his back and said, Oraka, are you okay? She kind of sat with a huge pouting face and somewhat sore throughout her whole body and just eating of the food, as tears are still running down her face. Koda opens the door and see Zuko and Oraka in the middle of the table, somewhat eating food quietly. Koda had to walk in this awkward situation and sits right in front of Zuko. He already closed the door, and Zuko apologized to Koda that what he had said last time was too much for a kid, and for that I am sorry. And, well, Uraka, at this moment, after she finished her food and the silence was too loud for her, she asked if it's okay if she can go. Zuko said, yeah, of course. You're welcome to go anywhere. I am here. You can always go to me. And, well, Uraka smiles after the long 9 hours of torture. She's finally okay. Somewhat shaken, but she wants to go outside and feel the sunlight for once. She kind of gets back up, still in her pajamas, and went outside. While she was going out, her friends finally comes out over to Uraka, and Uraka, well, her friends are trying to comfort her or tell her it's going to be okay, it's all going to be good, we're going to take care of you. But Uraka just walks past by them and just walk outside and just feel the rest of the sun until it gets dark, and stay there until she comes back in. For those 4 hours of time passed, of the sun still up, Zuko and Koda was just sitting there, and Koda was the first one to ask, was all of that true? Zuko said, huh? I'm sorry? I zoned out. Koda said, was that true? Did all of that really happen? Zuko, he just looked at the kid, said, kid, it's best you think it's a lie. Koda said, oh, okay. Mister? And Zuko said, Zuko. You can call me Zuko. I prefer it that way. And Koda said, Zuko. Is it okay if I tell you how it was like with me and my parents? Zuko said, you know, I would like that. I would like to hear how it could have been. If you're okay with it, I would like to hear more. So Koda explained, talks about how he was with his parents on the day he can remember, on the small fights they have, but having celebrate his birthday, awakening his quirk, the life that Zuko always dreams. Until the day that Koda looks into the TV, onto the news, and see pronounced dead of his parents and the man that killed them both. And Zuko said, wow. And just like that, it's gone. Zuko reaches out his hand as Koda does as well. Zuko grabs onto his hand and just feels the warmth and just hold him tightly. Koda replies as holding up tightly as well, as much as he can, somewhat shaking. And Zuko said, it's okay. You can cry. Mine are gone. I can't cry anymore. If I do, they won't stop. So, as long as you're crying, just know I am here to make sure you're not hurt. As he's still holding onto Koda's hands, and Koda is starting to cry and cry. The longest crying that he ever gone through. And he felt so warm just by getting his hand held by the stranger. But he told him about everything of his life. He just feels so safe around him. Zuko kind of like let go, and Koda, in this unknownly loss, he looks back up with his tears down his face. Zuko just moved out of the way over to Koda, grab him up, hold him tightly, and just give him a huge hug. As Koda is still crying in his shoulders. As Koda finally cries himself to sleep, this is the same time that Oraka has come through. She doesn't feel warm anymore. She wants to go back to the warm feeling that she felt when she was sleeping next to Zuko. She just feels safer with him. So she went to her room, grabbed most of her stuff, and just took it to the other room that he was at. And well, Zuko was laying down on the floor as he was covered by a blanket by Koda himself. And Zuko was fast asleep, with baggy eyes on his eyes, showing signs that he still stayed awake for throughout the night and through the day for everybody to be okay. Koda kind of looks over to the girl and said, he was really warm as he walked away, leaving. But Koda felt a hand getting pulled. He looks back at Oraka, and she's just pulling him in and saying, it's okay. If you want to sleep next to him, it's okay. I have extra blankets. We can all be next to each other. As Koda kind of smiles and just give a few tears dripping down his face, and said, I like that a lot. As he gets and crawls onto Zuko's and just sleep right next to Zuko, holding his hand. As Oraka finally feeling how she used to feel, all warm and bubbly, right next to Zuko. She just got real close onto Zuko's side, on his right side actually. Some reason Zuko sleeps on his back, but his hands are usually out everywhere. So Baraka grabbed onto Zuko's right hand, and she just holds on to him as she slowly goes to sleep. The next morning comes. Everybody else, well, they were told on the experience. Well, Aizawa just tells them to not ask for Zuko or Uraka for the time being. Something has happened and we're not gonna go through with it. I do not want to talk about this. If any of you, if any of you mention or try to find them, you're all getting double the training and no food for the day. Do I make myself clear? As all of them said yes, sir, and ran right back to training. But Aizawa kind of noticed that Koda is not here for the breakfast meal. And well, Mandalay and the rest of the Pussycats are kind of worried too that he didn't come back from last night. So they're looking around until they remember they did not check the one room. And well, when they finally opened the door slightly to see if he was in there, this little scene of Zuko, Uraka, and Koda sleeping like they're in a huge family. Mandalay, she's very jealous that Koda is sleeping and smiling at the same time, something that she has not been blessed to see yet, ever since that day. Zuko, no, he is awake. He moves his head and felt the light from the hallway shining in his eyes. He kind of just moves right to left, opened his eyes, and said, is it alright? Can you guys, bring us some food? As some of them kind of chuckles at how weird the situation is. Said, yeah, I'll do that. You guys can, I don't care. Just take care of this. As he, I don't care. Tigress, I guess, went over and get 3 plates of food. One for Koda, Uraka, and Zuko. Zuko finally gets up and moves his hand. As this happens, Uraka awakens. And finally back to her normal self, says out loud, 5 more minutes. I don't want to go. No. As Zuko kind of chuckles by this, happy that she's finally back to her senses, and kind of tap her on her face, and just whisper very softly into her ear, and said, but you will miss. Well, I can't think of anything. Let me think. No? He says this. But you will miss Zuko being shirtless. As she straight up woke up. She looked around, kind of in a blush, and wanted to see him shirtless. As she just sees Zuko kind of smiling, kind of giving her a smirk. So that woke you up. Well, I'm flattered that you are excited for something like that, but sadly you're not doing that. As Momo, well, fuck, come on. Uraka kind of blushes and said, here's the food. Thank you for the food, as she digs in and tries to avoid this conversation. Zuko kind of chuckles, and he just pats on Koto's face, well, his head, basically his forehead, and just kind of move him awake. Koda finally wakes up, rubbing his eyes. Yawning. Man, it's hard to force that thing out. And he looks over and said, "Oh, thank you." Zuko said, "It's okay, it's fine." And the teachers are still watching this, very confused how Zuko is acting like a more of an adult, more like a grandparent to these two. And somehow, all of the Pussycat sees the one thing been a long time coming. Zuko shows Koda a smile, and Koda smiles right back. Koda just says thank you. Koda finally goes over to the table and smells pancakes, bacon, sausage, eggs, and it smells so good. He was about to dig in, but Zuko said, wait, let's do a prayer. As Uraka kind of blushing because she's already halfway done, and Zuko said, it's okay, we can just do it right now. As they all say, thank you for this food. And Zuko start eating with a very messy table afterwards. And well, the Pussycats, after the whole meal was done, Koda finally leaves and was just said good morning, Auntie, and everybody else. I'm ready for the day, as he's acting like a kid again. And he just walks off into the room like nothing's changed. Uraka, well, after she burped and say, excuse me, she kind of leans to Zuko and that she's kind of shaking but very brave right now and asks for something into his ear. Zuko said, oh, okay. And he gives her a kiss on the forehead. And this just warms her to the very core. Said, okay, I'll train as hard as possible for I can protect you and everybody else. The whole 180. She gets back up, grab her clothes, and, well, of course, get dressed in another room. Zuko's just sitting there, kind of thinking on how funny it was. Yesterday it was so dark. Today is so bright. Until he looks over and sees the teachers are still there watching him. And said, I'll go back to training. And Aizawa said, no. Whatever you did, I'm impressed. As he walks away. Zuko does not understand if that was a good thing or a bad thing. But the rest of the Pussycats, they are staying and asking questions. More of telling, what did he do to Koda for him to react that way? And Zuko said, I just let him talk. And well, after he talked, he finally felt like he can cry again. And he cried so long. But he finally did it. I think he was holding back tears for too long. And they say, oh, he did cry on the day too, but Zuko said, no. I mean, really cried about everything. He had to accept that they're gone. He was still holding hope. As long as he gives that up, he can actually move forward. So whenever he looks like, if this ever happens, whenever he looks like he's about to cry, just let him. Don't hug him until he's about done crying. Okay? It's something that can help. He gets up and leaves the room and took a shower and, of course, went out and trained. By himself, of course. No one else is going to help him because of what Aizawa has said. Now, I'm going to end it at this point. Mostly because I believe that was a good way of ending it. And I hated how I did it last time. But the next part will for sure be a huge, a lot of stuff gonna happen. So just wait for that. Have a nice day, and I hope you enjoy this video. Bye. Also 18 plus. Bye.